Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at chocolate and how it might actually affect your chances of getting type 2 diabetes.
This should be fun.
It really is interesting stuff, and we've got some new research straight from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health.
Yeah, I was reading that study earlier.
So if you love chocolate, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this one.
You know what? Let's just get right to it.
Okay, sounds good.
So this Harvard study,
Yeah.
it really kind of turned some heads because they analyzed data from these huge studies.
Like how huge?
We're talking the Nurses' Health Studies NAN 2 and also the Health Professionals Follow-Up Study.
Wow, okay, so those are some big ones.
Yeah, almost 192,000 people, and they followed them for over 30 years.
That's a lot of data.
It is.
So what'd they find? Like, what's the big takeaway here?
So the really exciting thing is that dark chocolate
Okay.
might actually help prevent diabetes.
Oh, interesting.
We're talking a 21% lower risk.
Wow, okay.
But, and here's the kicker.
This wasn't true for milk chocolate.
Okay, so is it just because dark chocolate is, darker? What's the difference?
Well, not quite. I think
Oh.
the researchers really honed in on the fact that dark chocolate is packed with polyphenols.
Right, polyphenols.
You know how everyone's talking about antioxidants?
Mhm.
Well, polyphenols are a type of antioxidant,
Oh, okay.
and they're found in plants.
I see.
It's like they're little defenders.
Yeah.
They fight inflammation and protect your cells from damage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So even though milk chocolate and dark chocolate have pretty similar calories and fat content,
Right.
it's the polyphenols in the dark chocolate that are sort of making up for the sugar and fat.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like it balances things out a little bit and makes dark chocolate a healthier choice.
You got it.
Now, I know we keep saying that the study found a link between dark chocolate and a lower risk of diabetes, but just to be clear,
Sure.
how much chocolate are we talking about? Like, how much were people in the study eating?
So the people in the study who ate at least 5 servings of any type of chocolate each week, milk or dark,
Right, yeah.
they had a 10% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to the people who didn't really eat much chocolate.
So even just a little bit could be good.
That seems to be what the data is telling us.
Yeah.
But for dark chocolate specifically,
Yeah.
the benefits were even better.
Okay.
Each serving of dark chocolate per week lowered the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 3%.
Wow, that's awesome.
Remember, the people who had 5 servings a week saw that big 21% risk reduction.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is.
So it's almost like dark chocolate is in its own category.
Yeah.
It seems like it has something special going on.
And, we've been talking about these polyphenols.
Mhm.
Well, it turns out they aren't all created equal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are different types, and each one has its own unique benefits.
Okay.
And dark chocolate, it happens to be rich in a type called flavonols. Yeah, and they've been linked to better heart health and even better blood sugar control.
So wait a minute. Are we saying that dark chocolate could be good for your heart too?
Well, that's what some of the research is pointing to.
Wow, these flavonols sound pretty powerful.
They really do.
So should we all be like stocking up on dark chocolate bars now?
Now, hold on a sec.
Okay.
Before you run off to the store, there are a few things to keep in mind.
Like what?
First off, this is just one study. We need more research to back up these findings.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the other thing is that the people in this study, they were eating relatively small amounts of chocolate compared to what people usually eat.
Ah, so moderation is still key.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Now, I know we're talking about diabetes a lot today,
Yeah.
but this whole thing about dark chocolate and flavonols, it really makes you think,
About.
like, what other health benefits could these flavonols have?
That's a good question.
I mean, maybe this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, something to think about.
Yeah, definitely food for thought.
Okay, so we've learned that dark chocolate might actually be good for you.
Potentially.
And it could even have some benefits beyond what we talked about today.
Who knows? Maybe we'll have to do a whole other deep dive on just flavonols.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we need to take a little break.
Sound good.
We'll be back in just a minute to talk about some other foods that are packed with those awesome flavonols.
Yeah, wait.
All right, so we're back, and we're talking about those powerful flavonols found in dark chocolate.
You bet.
I have to admit, it's pretty mind-blowing to think that something as delicious as chocolate could actually be good for us.
Yeah, it really challenges those old ideas about healthy versus treat foods.
Exactly.
I mean, dark chocolate, it's kind of got a foot in both worlds.
Right.
It is a treat, but it seems like it can also have a place in a healthy lifestyle.
So before we get too carried away with chocolate,
Yeah.
I'm curious, are there other foods that are packed with these flavonols?
Oh, absolutely. You're in luck. because a lot of delicious foods are rich in flavonols.
Like what? Tell me more.
Well, think about bright, colorful berries.
Okay.
Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries.
Okay.
Those are all great sources.
I love berries.
And we can't forget about tea,
Ah, yes.
especially green tea.
Okay.
And even coffee has some.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like adding these flavanol-rich foods to your diet could be good for your overall health, not just for potentially lowering the risk of diabetes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
It's not just about preventing one specific thing, it's about taking care of yourself in a holistic way.
You got it. And the best part is, it's not about restriction.
Right.
You can enjoy these foods and still take care of your health.
It's all about finding that balance.
Exactly.
So we've been talking a lot about dark chocolate,
We have.
and the study didn't really specify what kind of dark chocolate people were eating.
Right.
And I was just thinking, like, a 70% cacao bar is pretty different from a 90% cacao bar, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So does that matter?
That's a really good question. And you're right.
Yeah.
Not all dark chocolate is created equal.
So how do we know which one to choose?
Well, the study didn't go into detail about the specific types of dark chocolate, but it's something to keep in mind when you're shopping.
Okay.
Definitely pay attention to the label and look at both the sugar content and the cacao percentage.
So basically, the higher the cacao percentage and the lower the sugar content, the better.
We got it. Remember, we're after those potent flavonols, and the higher the cacao content, the more flavonols you'll likely get.
Okay, so it's not just about grabbing any bar that says dark chocolate.
Right.
You really have to be a smart chocolate shopper.
Exactly. Read those labels,
Yeah,
compare brands, and choose the dark chocolate that fits your health goals.
makes sense.
It does.
Now, you mentioned earlier that we need more research to confirm these findings.
We do.
What kind of research would you like to see done in this area?
Well, I think it would be really interesting to see studies that compare different types of dark chocolate.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, like different cacao percentages,
Yeah.
different sugar contents, and even different added ingredients.
Okay.
I think that would give us a more complete understanding of how these factors affect our health.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And I'd love to see research that dives into the mechanisms behind these findings.
Like, what's actually happening in our bodies when we eat flavonols?
Exactly. How do they influence the development of type 2 diabetes? What other pathways are involved? Getting into the nitty-gritty of how these compounds work could lead to even more targeted and effective interventions.
That's fascinating. It's like we're just beginning to uncover the secrets of how these compounds can benefit our health.
You said it.
And who knows, maybe this research will lead to even better chocolate in the future.
Right.
Like, imagine a super-powered dark chocolate bar that's designed to maximize those flavanol benefits.
That would be something.
I know, right?
I think this research really opens up a whole new world of exploration, not just for chocolate lovers, but for the scientific community as well.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that the most delicious things can also be good for you.
They can be.
It's about making smart choices and finding that balance between enjoying what you eat and taking care of your health.
Well said. It seems like we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive today.
We have.
We talked about the study's findings, explored those amazing flavonols, and even looked ahead to future research possibilities.
It's been a great conversation.
It has.
But before we wrap things up, I think we should take a step back and consider what this research means for how we view food and health in general.
That's a great idea.
Because it's not just about chocolate, right?
Right, it's about the bigger picture.
I think it's really interesting how this study kind of changes how we think about good foods and bad foods.
Yeah.
Because chocolate, especially dark chocolate, it's usually seen as a treat, something you shouldn't have too much of.
Right, exactly.
But this study suggests that it could actually be part of a healthy lifestyle.
It really shows that food is complicated.
Yeah,
It's not so black and white.
I like that. Not so black and white when we're talking about chocolate.
Exactly. This study is a perfect example of how looking at specific parts of food, like those flavonols, can totally change how we see its impact on our health.
So instead of getting caught up in all these strict food rules,
Right.
maybe we should try to understand the bigger picture.
Yeah, I agree.
Like how different foods and their components work together.
It's like a puzzle,
Yeah.
and we're just starting to figure out how all the pieces fit.
Yeah.
And this study shows us that even foods that have a bad reputation can have some good stuff in them.
That's a good point.
It's all about making informed choices,
Right.
not just telling people what to eat, but giving them the knowledge to make decisions that work for them.
Exactly. Knowledge is power. Right. Especially when it comes to nutrition.
Absolutely. And we're learning new things all the time.
It's pretty exciting to think about what other discoveries are out there.
It is. But for now,
Yeah.
let's recap what we've learned today.
Okay, sounds good.
First things first, this research is super promising, but we do need more studies to back it up.
Right. More research is always good.
But based on what we know now,
Yeah.
choosing dark chocolate over milk chocolate, in moderation, of course,
Of course, always in moderation.
could potentially lower your risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
And don't forget about all those other delicious flavanol-rich foods we talked about.
Oh yeah, the berries, the tea, even coffee.
It's like a delicious way to boost your health.
Exactly. And of course, we can't forget the
The
basics.
foundation.
Yeah, a balanced diet and regular exercise.
That's still the most important thing for preventing type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely. No amount of dark chocolate can replace those healthy habits.
Very true.
But hey, if you can enjoy some dark chocolate while you're working towards a healthy lifestyle,
Yeah.
why not?
I completely agree. Well, it looks like we've reached the end of our chocolate deep dive.
We have. And it's been a delicious one.
It really has.
Thanks for joining us today.
And until next time, happy snacking, everyone. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to making healthy choices.